Alright, we're live! Hello! Back playing actually multiplayer today, just because I'm waiting on my computer and I really want to, I really want the PC to show up before I go and stream a campaign. So we're going to be doing this for a bit. Just going to be playing some normal ranked matchmaking and seeing how many wins I can get today. As many as possible, playing exclusively as Slaanesh. I'm pretty excited about it. And let's see, do we have any life in chat? Okay, good. Good, we have a little bit of life. Sweet. So nice. Yeah. In some interesting news, you may have noticed in the description that I am hosting the summer championship for Creative Assembly. It's going to be a fairly large tournament. First place gets $1,500, and I will be working on the qualifier. Yeah, I'll be working on the qualifier coming this Saturday. So I'm quite excited about that. Zurzanoff, hello, welcome. Hopefully this stream goes well today. I know usually my audience doesn't watch a lot of multiplayer, and that's totally fine. Yeah, we're just gonna be fitting in a few of these, and then I'll be getting back to the regular campaign stuff soon enough. So, yeah, I'm pretty excited today. Slaanesh is a very, very fun faction to play. One of the fastest factions in the game, and probably my favorite in terms of units aesthetically. So I'm very excited to see how well they do. Now, in the meta right now, in domination, Slaanesh is pretty weak, unfortunately. Daniel, hello, hello. Yeah, Slaanesh is pretty weak. So we'll see. We'll see if they're actually, if we can actually get a lot of wins here. A lot of people. Oh, hey, look at that, Bob Tresh. Are you watching the stream, Bob? Is this a snipe? Is that what's happening? Well, anyways, yeah. The thing about Slaanesh right now, their big problem is that all of their units are very squishy. This is the only unit with armor in the entire roster, and that's gonna make life pretty difficult for them. Now, for myself, we do have a few different strategies we can work around with to... Yeah, my favorite aesthetically, that's true. Yeah, we have a few strategies to make sure that we don't get absolutely murdered, but we'll see, we'll see. Oh, and it looks like he's playing Corn, very interesting. Hey, look at that, we got chat flowing, amazing. Colin Old Barbecue, hello. Time to box in lords with chariots. Ah, yes, the ultimate undefeatable strategy. Oh, man. So incredibly janky. Oh man, if only that worked. We're playing against Corn. I want to go for a Herald. You're going to be seeing a lot of this today. And yeah, if this stream goes well, I would very much like to transition into more just multiplayer streams, because I can sort of do this one and done without having to worry about the overhead of a campaign. Of course, I'll be playing campaign probably more than 50% more than this, but yeah, I'm pretty excited to see where we can go. Let's see, against Corn, I'm gonna go on foot. And that's gonna make my guys way cheaper. Cultists are meta right now. You love to see it, just kidding, everybody hates it. Yeah. What's it? We're on Arnheim. That's pretty good. And right now, a lot of people, it's mostly like a spawn heavy meta. And then what? I guess just Exalted Demonettes. I could go Mass Infantry too and just capture points like crazy. It's not a terrible idea, actually. Like, you know, if I go like a ton of Marauders, spam out some Demonettes, and then we're more or less good. I don't really need Furies. I don't even need that many cavalry units. Maybe I'll get a Heartseekers. Then is this my build? It's a little bit janky, but you know, it should be good enough. Let's ready up. Let's see what he has for us. Yeah, Demonette's the best chaff. It's true. Oh man, so bloody expensive. Excited to see you at the championship playing non-game 3 races. Ooh, yeah, that's gonna be super exciting. I will be casting, however. So instead of being a player, because it is going to be a Creative Assembly sponsored stream, I cannot take the sponsorship and the prize money at the same time, so we'll just be casting, but I'm very excited for it. It's huge for the channel because it means that CA is noticing me more. Notice me more, senpai. So, jeez. Anyways, yeah, CA is going to be noticing me a lot more. It means that communication's going to be better. Maybe I can get into more events. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Very exciting for the channel. And yeah. Yeah, hopefully it all goes all right. Worst case scenario, my PC shows up late, this one crashes, internet dies, stream fails in front of everybody watching. But you know, how often does that happen, right? When is this event happening? It's happening on Saturday, specific times you can find in the description link. In the description. There's a tournament link. It's a sign up page, will tell you when it starts. It's gonna be 1 p.m. my time. Hey, hello, Daniel. Hello. Catania. Hello. Yeah, that's right. It's a CA official event. It's crazy. Absolutely bonkers. How does this even happen? What is my life? I don't know. Oh man, it's crazy, guys. At your age, you've basically made it. Yeah. In terms of just the amount of people that I have reached in my YouTube career, I will say I have definitely made it. In terms just like general goals, it's great. In terms of like making full-time income, you know, maybe not, but that'll come with time, guys. That'll come with time. All right. Now, the thing about Slaanesh that is interesting in this matchup, I cannot trade up into Corrin and melee. Corrin is the better melee fighter, and I do not have range to really punish him. So that means we got to play a lot of hit and run. Lot of hit and run. Basically just focusing on capturing points instead of taking on big fights. Of course, if they split up too hard and a good engagement is presented, we will take that. But other than that, we're just going to be dancing around all game. And it should be some pretty good practice for me too. And by the way, speaking of Slaanesh, I do plan, so we're talking about campaign again on a multiplayer stream, but I do want to get that ×4 speed run going eventually. PC, still in customs, but as soon as it's out, guys, I'm going to be doing that. Oh, he's going for the high ground strat. Very interesting. So instead, we're just going to cap low ground. Should be fairly safe. Almost got your surname right. I will never become a teacher. I do not trust myself with other people's names. Yeah, so basically everything, every single battle that I load into is going to be on ×4 speed. And that's basically the only rule. Should be very fun. Slaanesh, everything's gonna be just blitzing around. Oh man, it's gonna be exciting, guys. But yeah, so also another great thing about this stream right now, it's basically this is also acting as a janky way for me to get my streaming practice in, because I haven't streamed a multiplayer for a while, and knowing multiplayer, there's a lot going on at the same time. So essentially the test that I'm doing here, I need to be entertaining while casting at the same time, or while playing at the same time. Whoops, already made a mistake. And of course, you know, when you have a CA sponsored event, there's going to be a lot more people, so stress is on to make sure that we don't muck everything up. Yeah, if I can just get something, you know, at least half serviceable, I'll be happy. That's all I really need. And thankfully, I do have just so many years of multiplayer experience. I'm pretty confident that that nothing will really go too wrong. By the way, right now, I'm thinking if Corrin pushes down here early, I'm probably gonna let him capture the point, because I have no reason to really, you know, stand here and fight. If he brings down his infantry, you know, we'll get the summons going. We'll block him on this choke point, and then that will ensure that we can hold this for a while. Yeah, it's very exciting. Multiplayer is I still love playing multiplayer. I think campaign is very fun, just like, you know, it's a very fun stream, but multiplayer is sort of like, that's my end game for Warhammer. You know, that's just what I wouldn't be able to just play campaign exclusively forever. So having multiplayer around really does make life great. Now, he has summoned some flesh hounds over here, and I will be getting into the tactics eventually. But yeah, so with the flesh hound summon, we're going to counter with some cavalry. Of course, cavalry is not going to win on their own. There we go, looks like he is pushing down. Gonna stall them with our summons. Pull these guys back so that they don't get engaged on by the big single entities there. And the stalling game begins. Now, he's going to be moving in with Scarbrand, but he doesn't engage. This is a smart move by my opponent, as you definitely don't want to take a fight in the middle of all of my forces here, but maybe he will. Maybe he will. Oh my gosh. Is this potentially a huge pick? It quite possibly could be. I'm going to be pulling off all the stops on the summon front of things. Gonna net him down. And the reason that we net him down is so that our hero squad can get a clean engage on him. He does proc his big rampage ability, but not in the range of all of these guys. That means that we don't really have to worry here, and we can probably safely disengage in due time. Although these spawn are very scary, he does have summons of his own. So I'm probably going to bail out of this area while I can. And then with so few troops over here, I can start summoning on the high ground and contesting that. But first things first, we are in danger and we want to disengage from this area. And I'll drop a good old slicing shards to make sure that we get a little bit of damage in. At the same time, I'll also pull back my cavalry just so that they don't all die. Although this situation is definitely pretty scary, we do have a bit of a problem in that my lord and heroes are a bit stuck up. But, oh man, yeah, looks like Scarbrand's actually going to be pinning them down. Now this is going to be a bad situation. I'm going to commit my cavalry to try and save my lord here. But already the engagement is a little bit, I think a little bit out of our favor. We technically are trading up though. So perhaps the best idea is actually to commit and to keep fighting. We will lose our lord, but a big surround here could just mean that we trade up very well. And he does have a lot of resources up here on the high ground. So if we just commit to this fight and trade out everything else, we might still be able to win it. Of course, the loss of the lord is really bad. It does mean our leadership is tanking quite heavily. But we do have a nice surround on all of his guys. We'll see. Yeah, right now there isn't too much micro. Getting caught up in the fight was definitely a misplay. And yeah, you can see now. Oh no, we're trading really badly now. Back to the disengage. Now at this point, we've lost a lot of value. I've also just taken severe damage. Looks like the gambit of going in with Scarbrand has paid off. And instead, we're going to be playing the long con, going for capture points instead and seeing if we can suss out a mistake from our opponent. But he has definitely taken the lead at this point. All right, so, and of course, let's see, yeah, you guys can't see it in the top left. Very nice. Oh yeah, by the way, while we're here just trying to tease out a victory as best as we can, I can show off. I can show off this thing. Look at that. I have a little logo. Hey, and look at that. I'm also learning that should be a little bit lower. There we go. Yeah, I have a logo to show off that I am streaming on YouTube. The reason being is that we will be getting restreamed to Creative Assembly's official channel, and we will also be we'll be getting restreamed to Creative Assembly's official channel, and also for possibly a bigger event too. I'm not sure if that's announced yet, but yeah, I'm very excited about that. And then hopefully that draws some attention to the channel too. Yeah, super professional. I used the default font. There's nothing really crazy going on there, but it looks pretty nice. I'm quite happy about it. And by the way, you can see here our shenanigan strats. Basically, what we're doing, I'm just sort of dancing on this point, but I'm not actually taking any fights. I have capture weight, and the more infantry that you have on the points, the more you will, the faster you will capture it. And man, our trading went so badly though. I'm tempted to concede out of this one, but the thing about the capture points is that the more infantry you have on it, the faster it's going to capture, but the more damage that your infantry take, the slower they're going to cap too. And because my guys will just generally be trading worse, that's going to be a pretty bad idea. All right, let's get another Demonette summon here. And then if I can grab the middle point, that'd be great. We'll see if I can squeeze my guys in here. I am ahead in points, so the thing about domination mode right now, although the victory points are a pretty nice victory condition, you do have to worry quite a bit about trading well with your armies. If your units end up dying, you'll lose general map presence, and very often you can just lose all 3 capture points too. And after you lose your army, there's basically not much you can really do to basically, yeah, there's not much you can really do in general to win the game, because once you are triple capped, you won't be getting any more of these victory tokens, victory tickets, I guess so called, and then you're basically done for. In this case, I don't really see a way for us to trade up here anymore, so I'll just call GG. As you can see, he has just way more army than me, and he'll be able to cap my 3rd point soon enough. So GG. Oh, pretty big loss at the start. Let's see if we can come back. I'm hoping I can get a nice positive win rate today. Oh man, you just fell off the chair because of my professionalism. Yeah, you know, I got a t-shirt. I combed my hair over today. We're looking good. Dang it. Oh man, Corrin is very strong in the meta, but I do blame myself. That initial trade was a bad one. And I'll probably put my heroes on horses next time. That's probably a safer bet to make sure they don't get caught out. Alright, but let's lock in Slaanesh again. Here we go. Game number 2. Dang it. Such a prestigious position only to lose. Bob, what's it? I think that was Bob Tresh. He's a good player, though. A brisk wind could knock Slaanesh over. It's very true. Kill, yeah. Yeah, imagine all the people, everyone coming in from Creative Assembly to watch me, and it's just like 0 wins, 50 losses. Oh man, that would be sad. Hey, look at that, he plays Slaanesh, a little bit of mercy. So or not Slaanesh, Cathay. Cathay is a much easier faction to face up against, so generally one of the weakest in the meta currently. In this case, the main thing that we have to worry about is probably a lot of ranged units, as their infantry are pretty easy to take out. And against ranged, Furies are going to be the solution. Ask Turin to coach you. You know, I am playing with Turin right now. So in a sense, he is already helping. Alright, now, general meta for this matchup, right? Cathay, a lot of ranged and very slow infantry. This means that they have an exceptionally difficult time actually capturing points. And if they're not going to be able to cap points, that means that we can what's it? Yeah, we can basically just bounce around. That's the essential idea for the entire day, except I guess Slaanesh is also very good at fighting Cathay here. These demonettes will trade very well into their infantry if, and specifically if, they aren't getting shot at. Of course, I'll also want to go for cultists, as they are very, very strong. And, oh, why can't I get another cultist? Is this thing bugged? What's going on here? Okay, interesting. I guess it was just bugged for a second. Anyways, yeah, we want to get the cultists and we want to get the summons. Those will help us engage any front line that we have to. And the usual kit on my caster. Just some buffs and some more summons to shut down ranged. That's generally the best idea. Let's see, now infantry-wise, I guess I could get a chariot. That's okay, might as well. We'll play around a bit, and then as soon as we start getting some wins in, then I'll also be taking in viewer suggestions, just because that's fun too. For now, though, I need to get my first win. Terracottas are also pretty scary. You know what? That's a good point. We already locked in. If we do see terracottas, my hero squad can technically take it out. There's a problem where, yeah, my heroes can technically take it out. I think it's sort of better just to ignore it, though, as they are extremely expensive. Yeah, I totally forgot about terracottas. That's the first strategy I did when I got into Warhammer multiplayer too. Good times. Oh yeah. Yeah, the tournament is huge, man. It's huge. If you, like, just the early access to Warhammer 3 alone is pretty hype for the tournament. Skull Crushers. are still horrendously overpriced. Terribly, terribly overpriced. I would not take them ever. Yeah, unfortunately. The cheaper variants, the 1500 guys are a little bit better, so if you really want to run some cavalry, those guys are your option. Yeah, that's right. You will, if you qualify for the tournament, because it's played on the Immortal Empires build, CA will give you 10 days of early access before the tournament. If that is not a good reason to qualify for the tournament, I do not know what is. Even more than the prize money, because, you know, you might not win the grand finals, but to be able to play every single faction, pretty good. Pretty good. Hello, Lim Stella, hello. You'll come back in some minutes. All right, sounds good. All right, now what are we looking at? We have some units in the back over here. It looks like he's going to be going for the quadruple whooshing war compass build. Now, I don't have much in the way of single entities due to me forgetting about taking that in my build. But on the other hand, we don't really have to fight these too much, and it's also pretty good because Slaanesh is quite adept at dodging abilities. So for those of you that don't know, whooshing war compasses, they come stock with a comet spell and a very small hit point lightning spell. Both of them are pretty long cast times, and they also give a buff to magic damage. So all spells are going to be hitting a little bit harder, which means that this Astromancer over here, he actually has the exact same spells. How about this? Blood Dragon Lord. There we go. Dragon Breath being buffed by 60% extra. That's going to be pretty scary. It means that all of my infantry are going to be very susceptible to AoE. And I want to be keeping them away from this Lord as much as possible. Although dodging is going to be pretty hard if he aims well. At this point, my main hope is just that I can basically just play keep away. After testing Minotaurs are better with large weapons. The problem is that even though they can perform well in a vacuum, it's basically just the price is too expensive, and Chaos Spawn generally will be outperforming them. But they're not a terrible, terrible unit. Yeah, early access as a prize, amazing. Nobody else in the world would be able to do that. Alright, so in the early stages of the game, of course, this is the skirmish phase. He is trying to get as much value off of his war balloons as he can. Of course, those are definitely very, very scary. As their damage has been buffed against infantry, and I have to be quite wary of that. And I'm just trying to stay out of its bubble. It will be getting in range of my demonettes. I'm going to be front-facing those balloons to make sure that they are not getting their piercing shots down the lines. And sort of just dancing back and forth with the demonettes to keep them safe. Looks like he's targeting my chariots too, but that's not too much of a problem. Now, there is another option too. Because his army is pretty hardcore on just the spellcasters there, and spellcasting is a long-term style of play, what we can do is try to overwhelm this army as well as we can. You know, we do have a good amount of infantry, and he has basically spent thousands of gold on these units. If you look at his actual defensive units, he has 3 units of spearmen and a couple archers, but everything else is basically just there for long-term skirmish. I guess the longmas are also quite good, but they'll be countered by my Furies too. So I feel like we sort of just want to make a mad dive on this army, and then hopefully just army wipe them. It shouldn't be too difficult, especially now that we have these Furies in. And the biggest threat for us is definitely just going to be those Astromancers. Any spells that drop are going to be just horrendously punishing for us if they land. So we're going to be on the lookout to make sure that doesn't hit us. For now, though, we're going to be setting up our surround, and then we'll make a big dive in onto this army. I'll also be cutting off his reinforcements coming in from here, and that'll let me slowly accumulate my forces. Yeah, wind farming, and we already lost one. Look, we're playing as Slaanesh, alright? I can't predict the future of my streams. I can't believe we lost on the first game, though. I generally regard myself as pretty good at multiplayer. So, whoopsies, but you know, it's fine. I will suffer the consequences of my mistakes. Now, we're going to start off the engagement with our cultists. Why the cultists? It's because there's basically nothing here that can really punish them right now. I guess technically the Longbow Riders could do that, but Longbow Riders are not too bad. And then I'm going to just summon in my Demonettes just right on top of those Jade Warriors. That'll shut them down. We're gonna make the slip through with my cavalry and send my Furies in onto those Longbow Riders. Now there's the breath attack. That is the main benefit that he gets from having such a strong boost in magic damage. But can he handle this big engagement? We'll see. It looks like he's dropping a few bombardment spells. That one's going to miss, thankfully. And I'm just sort of keeping an eye out for indicators on the ground. There's another one. Whoops, wrong button. And we do get hit by a lightning bolt, but that's not too painful. Looks like trading is going actually pretty evenly for us. It could be going better. But we'll see if that sort of spikes up as we get more units into the fight. Another unit of chariots will be great against all of the infantry that's here. We'll sort of just bounce them around. There's another glorious breath attack on my infantry. And it looks like we do come out ahead. There's basically nothing left on the ground. And I do still have my chariots just bouncing around, causing a lot of issues. He will be summoning some Jade Lancers. Let's see if... Actually, what I could do, I can net them down and charge them with my cavalry to... Oof, that missile spell. It did rout off his infantry, though. Yeah, I can hit up those Jade Lancers. I forgot to bring in my Demonettes. That's why this fight's so close. Oh, boy. Oh, the misplays. Terrifying. Anyways, we're netting down the Jade Lancers because it allows my cavalry to charge them in the back. And that is, of course, very important. Man, I can't believe I forgot my infantry. I gotta practice more games. This is embarrassing, jeez. But we did manage to snipe out his lord. He's now going for mass cavalry, and that actually puts us in a pretty disadvantaged position. I don't want to really be fighting him, and we've already killed off his lord, so I don't really need to engage more in this position. Instead, we're just going to disengage and sort of just play it safe. He did manage to hold the point, which is unfortunate for us. Oh, my bad, not his lord. We killed off his caster. Whoops. But yeah. We did manage to cap the point, which is pretty bad. But we still have these two. And as long as we can hold them for a decent amount of time, I think we should be fine. So let's just keep summoning anti-cavalry and sort of work with that. I'm going to be pulling in most of my heroes on this point. And hopefully the cavalry is not too much of a problem. Ooh, I think I have a pretty good catch too. His lord is quite in the open. And if I give her a debuff, that may be able to kill her here. With the big old Fury surround. Let's see if we can do that. Yeah, he might be turning the tables. The leaving the 2 units there was definitely a huge misplay. But if we do manage to kill off his lord, that would be huge. And I'm going to hedge him off at this point. Another net on his cavalry will make sure that they do not land their charge. And then a big spell here. This one, Fascination. It does pretty good damage to Longbow Riders because they're at low HP. And it even rampages them onto the low ground, which means that they won't be able to help out his lord. This is very good because essentially his entire build revolves around this Dragon Lord. And the moment she goes down, I think we should have won it. You are clicking abilities, shame on you. That's true, yeah. I manually click abilities instead of using hotkeys. But hey, I hotkey my units, you know, that's pretty good, right? There we go, we routed her off. Very, very nice. So, at this point now, the biggest threat for me, probably just the hordes of infantry that he's spamming. Of course, he doesn't have any magic left. And we do have the single entity advantage in the form of my hero here. He does miss a lightning bolt. And with a few spells, that should be enough support for my Demonettes to win this. Now, I could summon in some Marauders just to sort of stall this point more. But since we're sort of just at the midpoint in the game, I think it's going to be better to wait for Demonettes instead. They'll trade much better into these guys. And while I'm explaining it, I do take a pretty massive comet to the face. It does a good amount of damage, but I would say we're definitely in a very strong lead now. Especially without this lord over here. She's going to be easily chased off. And then the leadership of all of these guys should be hurting a lot. There's another missile spell. It doesn't hit too many units because it's mostly just my heroes over here. And I think we're good. Looks like trading is fairly even. But we're ahead in points and we're definitely commanding this battle. Enticity, how will your app go through the roof with manual clicking? How will your app go through the roof? I'm sorry, but I don't know exactly what you're talking about. My app? Like my phone app? I have no idea. All right, there we go. Nice. His lord is off the battlefield. And we do have some archers here. We're going to be employing some stalling techs here. And instead of fighting these guys on the point while they're slowly capturing, I'm going to be sending in my Furies and my mobility on these guys instead, as that'll actually stop them from reaching the point soon enough. You assume he meant APM? Oh, how do you APM go through the roof with manual clicking? Oh, well, you know, Warhammer's not that micro-intensive of a game. And spells are pretty they're pretty uncommon. It's not like StarCraft where you have to Psystorm 24/7, right? You're not like managing like 50 different spellcasters at the same time. So Warhammer's pretty chill, I would say, on that front. Now, he is sending a few units here. I'm not actually too worried about that. The reason being, they actually are not going to be able to cap this very quickly. Like I said earlier, damage units did not cap the points very fast. And because of that, I probably didn't even need to send the cavalry in there. If I had sent them in the middle, it would have been probably a little bit safer, but we won this game. We're good. All right, there we go. And another lash just to slow down their capture weight. And we just have to simply wait. Ah, look at that. He actually decided to resummon his lord. Not a terrible decision, although in this specific circumstance, it's not going to save him. As she doesn't even have capture weight. She's basically there trying to kill off my infantry as fast as possible. But she's not going to be able to do it fast enough. We're already at 5,000 points, and that's going to be the first win of the day. Look at that. We actually can play multiplayer, guys. We done did it. Very, very nice. Let's go ahead and charge these Jade Lancers here. And then call it a win. Sweet. All right. So now that we have our first win out of the way, I can finally stop feeling so self-conscious about my win rate, and we can start taking actual suggestions from people in chat. So while we queue into the next game, for people who are interested in seeing specific units get used, feel free to give me some suggestions. If you want to see a soul grinder, I'll take one. Whatever you guys want, we'll do what we can. As most people on the ladder aren't too scary to face up against. Is there skill-based matchmaking in this game? I'm not sure. I know there's ELO, but I don't know if there's skill-based matchmaking. Unfortunately. Although it would be pretty cool. They would need pretty high player rate, though. Alright, we're gonna lock in a Slaanesh. We want chariots! Alright, I'll go for a single Hellflayer. Why not? Soul Grinder sounds good. Nice. Give us Nakari. Oh, jeez, you madman. Alright, I'll go Nakari. This guy seems like he's fairly new, right? If he goes Zinch, we're screwed, but I'll see what I can work out. Alright, now Nakari's pretty sick. One of the strongest melee duelists in the game. So strong, in fact, that we don't even need most of his abilities to do well. He also has healing, which makes him incredibly tanky. And yeah, this is basically the kit that I like to have on him. He's playing as Kislev. Very, very scary. Now, this is going to change up what abilities we actually take. For example, Kislev don't route often, so we don't need this healing ability. But the melee debuff is still pretty good. Oh, look at that. He's readying up instantly. Look at this guy. Alright, well, I guess we can deploy pretty quickly. Now, Kislev chariots are pretty scary. Phantasmagoria is an option against that, as it will be able to slow them down. And I'm going to be going for a Marauder core, mostly. Demon Nets are pretty good, although expensive. I'll only take a couple of them. And against Kislev, you know, chariots aren't that bad. I can dominate the cavalry fight with... Oh, he stopped readying up. I can dominate the cavalry fight with these guys. Hellstriders of Slaanesh. And then some Seekers for armor piercing. Soul Grinder and Nakari will most definitely win the melee fight. I'm I'm not really worried about that in the slightest. In fact, I don't even need that much wins for magic. And I think we basically have a build here. More or less. Oh, I guess I should probably take Spawn, right? They're quite good against, they're quite good against sleds. I will not lie. But yeah, this looks like a build, right? There's nothing wrong going on here. We have like a little bit of everything, but you know, it's fun and exciting. Shameful display. Yeah, what are you talking about, the one loss? Or the match? Oh, the instant ready up. Yeah, it's fine though. We can get ready pretty quickly. Alright, well, this seems like a build. You know, we got some cavalry, we got some elite units, and most importantly, we have some anti-single entity. I also totally forgot to bring Furies. I will definitely be wanting at least a couple of those guys. There we go. We're gonna go with 4. And now we're ready. Slaanesh is my favorite faction in Warhammer 3. Hey, that's nice. It's too bad they're the worst faction in the game right now. And I'm not saying that because I'm playing them. In fact, I'm playing them because it's good for the stream. GG had accidentally sniped you. Oh, look at that. She took a Mimi build. No problem, man. It did work all right. It did work pretty good. Although it was pretty rough not being able to deal with the single entities. Whew, yeah. I really hope they update Slaanesh with something. I gave some feedback to CA on how Slaanesh could be a little bit more viable. Yeah, mostly just ways of dealing with blobs and being able to win melee fights. Because their infantry are incredibly squishy. Looks like my opponent isn't ready yet. We'll give him another minute. Nurgle's actually one of the strongest factions right now. Strangely enough, paradoxically, Nurgle is actually sort of insane. I would play Nurgle into most people. Yeah. Even Khorne, I can squeeze out wins. And Khorne's sort of the best right now. It's sort of weird because when you're just learning multiplayer, Nurgle's gonna feel terrible. You're gonna get just murdered all the time. And that's mostly because a lot of people don't bring the right builds with Nurgle. Essentially, once you really optimize him down, his infantry will just stand and fight forever. And that's basically the main unit you want to be spamming. Whew. Yeah. The full Wuxing build. Is it competitive? I would say no. But, you know, you guys are free to take whatever you want. Alright. We're going to let this run down. He did ready up earlier, so it's weird that he's not ready now. But there you go. He's good. What made him so good? So Nurgle's infantry is actually just really good. It turns out people didn't really realize this earlier. And especially when you have higher funds, it makes Nurgle bonkers strong. Yeah, plus Stream of Corruption. I made a whole video on it. Stream of Corruption is one of the best spells in the game right now, if not the best. It annihilates infantry, which means Nurgle's basically going to be winning every single melee fight he takes. Ooh, another question. Are ogres still OP? Ogres right now are middle of the road. Yeah, they're only okay. Ugh. Not too strong, but not particularly weak either. Also, hey, look at that. We broke 100 viewers. That's pretty rare. Especially for a multiplayer stream. What's going on? Man, maybe I should start streaming again. That's pretty exciting. What's it? You thought it had potential, but hadn't seen anyone use it. Yeah. The thing is, I would say mass Wuxing War Compass is very weak against single entities. Very, very weak against them. And right now, single entities are quite meta right now. So you'd have to be very wary about that. But you know, it does sort of work. I would love to. You know, I should do a day where I play Nurgle. Just Nurgle memes for multiplayer. I feel like I could make a pretty good, you know, title and thumbnail for that. Shouldn't be too hard. Yeah, Slaanesh is great. Let's get some love for Slaanesh. I feel like Slaanesh is so busy loving others. We gotta return the favor. This is on your front page. Oh my gosh, that's sick, Thomas. Amazing. Ooh, oh man, that's exciting. Oh, YouTube. Thank you so much, YouTube. I am at the whims of YouTube, though. It's freaky. Oh man, if Slaanesh could seduce units mid-battle, that would be insane. But yeah, Slaanesh, oh, you're talking about campaign though. Yeah, in campaign, it would make it way easier to seduce. Because right now, it's like, it's a huge pain having to spend thousands of gold for one unit. Not that useful. Is Nakari good in multiplayer? Nakari's slightly suboptimal, but not bad. Turn has been streaming other games. You've been praying for that I would start multiplayer streams. Hey, well, here you go. Here I am. All right, now is our opponent AFK? It looks like... No, there we go. He's moving. Now, we're seeing a max sled build from our opponent. Sleds are interesting in the meta because they are bloody terrifying. They will kite you away like no tomorrow. They're extremely hard to catch, but it doesn't mean that we are doomed here. I've brought specific answers for these guys. What are they? They are the light variant, which means that Hellstriders are a much better option. These guys are better for armor piercing. And I brought Phantasmagoria. It's a net for 11 seconds. And if we overcast it, it's going to be a net for 22 seconds. And that's definitely what I want to do. We're going to net down these sleds and then catch him with our cavalry. It also means that he can't really play too aggressively with them, thankfully. If you had to actually live in the Warhammer world and choose a faction, which would you choose? A discussion brought up many times. Definitely, it would probably be like... It'd probably be like the Empire, right? If... You know, if I was... Empire is good, like, low RNG. If I were, like, Bretonia, it could be very good, it could be terrible. So, you know, that could be pretty bad. But most places in Warhammer are not great places to live. So, I think almost no matter what I do, it would be a bad time. The Empire has window taxes. I could live with taxes. You know, they do have Beastmen incursions, but like, if you look at like the Gotrek and Felix books, Empire is pretty chill. They don't have, you know, that much going on. High Elves? Ooh, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. What's it? If you're playing as if you're the High Elves, the chances of your soul getting eaten up by Slaanesh are fairly low, right? That's a fairly safe bet. I believe. Because if that's the case, then that's quite nice for me. Alright, so it looks like he's targeting my chariots. I accidentally missed my crow a tiny bit there, and they do get caught up, but we're still good. Alright, now time for the big play. I'm going to get that Phantasmagoria loaded and ready. And then the sleds are going to turn around. There we go, and then we're just going to slam it down right over there. So right on their escape route. That's going to be pinning them down, and then I can go ahead and engage with all of my cavalry and infantry. It's a 20-second snare. Chariots are going to be at the ready in case the infantry get involved. But yeah, these sleds are done for. These sleds are done for. We just essentially just pounce on them, and that's going to be a huge value lead for me. That's actually sort of insane. Yeah, at this point, they could try disengaging. Actually, you know what? They do hold up pretty well, I'm not gonna lie. They actually tanked that not too terribly. Did they lose any models? Oh my gosh, sleds. It's totally fine though. That's still a pretty good trade for me, as the second engagement on them is definitely gonna be wrecking them. Oh, he's actually turning around, the madman. The madman. I'll come back for the fight. So here's the thing. We have a bit of an engagement here, right? He has a bunch of Kossars and a bunch of Warbears. The Warbears are a little bit scary because they are anti-large, so I don't really want to be staying in this fight for too long. And in fact, you know what? I'll probably be fine waiting to capture the points and just worry about trading up to him, versus him instead. I'll just draw his units over here and then get a pretty nasty surround on his forces. Oh, he does pull back the bears though. And he's going back for his choke point. That's totally fine. I should probably start working towards a flank then to get a better engagement here. And in the meantime, I might be able to pick off what? Winged Lancers? I think I can take this fight with my Seekers. Yeah, since it seems like he is mostly distracted over here. It looks like he's going for an infantry summon. Very good. Alright, so the way I want to take this engagement, I don't really want to charge with my cavalry just yet. I'm going to charge with my Furies in the back, and that'll sort of ensure that we don't get caught up here. Yeah, there we go. That'll keep him busy. And it looks like he's actually repositioning a little bit. He's going to be bringing in his sleds. I don't think they're actually too terrifying here. Let's see, especially if I have my Seekers and they get the charge off. Yeah, we're fine. We're fine. Alright, nice. We'll keep on skirmishing then. Now, I did accidentally capture a point. I didn't actually want that, but we're still good. Nakari mispathing through here is pretty rough, though. And you know what? Oh, man, I guess I'm really wondering if I want to capture these points or not. We'll see. We'll see. Some more winged lancers, that's fine. I'll bring in my own cavalry. Yeah, I sort of want to build up my forces for a bit and then take a strong engagement against my opponent. That's probably my best option for success. He's playing awfully defensively here. But I think that's fine. Especially since it looks like we're going to be catching out 2 units of cavalry for ourselves. How's the trading going? Pretty even. I can live with that. Yeah, and I'm going to wait for him to be ahead in points just so that I get a little bit more value from the comeback mechanic. I will be losing some cavalry here, but that's okay. Soul Grinder running off the map again. No, he's fine. He's fine. I'm just he's just sort of chilling. And in the meantime, I guess we'll start building up our chariot forces, because at some point his army is going to become mostly infantry. And if it's mostly infantry, that fight is to our advantage. So let's go ahead and try that out. He's also sending in the Warbear Riders. This is a pretty good engagement for me, specifically because I can grab my Furies and fight them in the forest. This is great for me because these guys do not have, or they're disadvantaged fighting in the forest. And in this fight, the Furies are small, so they don't suffer any disadvantages at all. Almost a perfect position for them. And just like that, most of the Warbear Riders are going to be going down. Very, very good. And we'll be getting come from behind points in just a second. Alright. Trading is still suspiciously close, though. And mostly, I guess I have to worry about my Soul Grinder performing well here. That's probably the biggest worry. Yeah, because if it gets picked off by too much range, that would be very bad for me. But over here in this fight, I think we're still good. And our value is slowly but surely skyrocketing. Very good. And I can even get my chariots to start bouncing around as infantry. We'll see how much damage they actually do, though. Chariots can sort of be finicky because of how squishy they are. But he doesn't have any cavalry left, so this is sort of the perfect situation for them. Alright, we did lose a unit. That's A-okay. And I can slowly start pulling in units. Now, we are getting points for being behind now. And Katerin actually overextends. Now, this is a very good situation for us. I'm going to be diving in all forces on top of her to try and take her out. Definitely extremely high priority. We're going to cast that spell on her to get her to Rampage. And there we go. There's a Rampage. So now Nakari can just lay into her. That's very good. And in the meantime, my chariots will just keep being as annoying as possible while I capture these points. Nice. And I'll also get my cavalry to pin her down since that Rampage is going to be wearing off soon enough. Okay, I think we have secured ourselves a lead. Victory points we're behind on, but in the current state of domination, we don't really need it. Yeah, Slaanesh loves coming from behind. It's very true. Alright, nice. So he does have a few sleds, but I'm not too worried because they are... Their sleds are generally a very low DPS unit. As scary as they are over the long-term fight, they don't really help you out that much just by poking away with their range shots. It's very low DPS. And I'll be using that to my advantage by essentially taking engagements very aggressively. Sort of just taking the fight before they get their value off. And look at that. These chariots do manage to stay alive. If you suggested chariots, it was a good idea. Alright, nice. And I'm going to keep from capturing points so I can sort of maintain my lead here. At this point, his infantry is having a very rough time sort of securing a good firing position. So instead of sort of just worrying about capping these points, I'm going to push my advantage and actually just wipe his army out here. Just sort of like in last game, if your army gets wiped out, there's basically no chance for you to come back if your opponent has enough units. And then I can sort of just safely cap my way to victory. Looks like we're going to be losing our extra come from behind points too soon. So I do want to start thinking about capturing eventually. Alright, but Nakari's in the midst of things. He's doing great. We're gonna whip these units specifically in the back because they are not engaged. So I want to stop them firing as soon as possible. And hey, it's a mass rout. I think we've done it. I think we've done it. This is very good. Let's go ahead and catch these sleds. And then just capture that point. He's going to be summoning a few more units, but nothing I really have to worry about now. At this point, I guess the Soul Grinder is not really needed. He can move back and sort of defend the points. Yeah, this map's very cool for Slaanesh. The fact that you can just Vanguard basically anywhere you want is a huge advantage for us. Alright, let's see. Check the value. We are 3,000 points ahead. Now, the interesting thing about value is that your value, even though the percentage difference isn't that big, because there's so few units actually on the battlefield at this point, 3,000 points is actually sort of bonkers for us. It means that we're getting a rather huge advantage over our opponent because we basically have like 4 times his army size right now. Your ranged units stop shooting if you move units through them. They do stop shooting, yes. So sort of using chariots is a really nice way of shutting down ranged. And nice, look at that. We have a rout. He only has but a few units of infantry left, and this is where our Furies are going to be specializing, because they can rapidly come on in and sort of pick off the stragglers. So I'll just be spamming that as much as humanly possible. And in the meantime, I'll sort of just pick off these sleds so that they're not too much of an issue as we transition into the late game. Look at that. I think we may be able to get a positive win rate yet by the end of today. Very exciting. Nice. And you can see I wasn't really worried about capturing this point. If you look at how the scores work, it's the first person to 5,000 points wins. And with only 1 capture point, he's only getting 5 points a second. That amounts to only, 1,000 divided by 5. That's 200 seconds, which means it's gonna take about 3 minutes before he wins, before he gets 1,000 points. And 3 minutes is more than enough to capture the point, so I just wasn't worried at all. It looks like he's going to be making a mad dash for the middle too. Also not really a problem, as Warbear Riders, I don't believe they have infantry capture weight. So, and I guess since we actually have insane amounts of people watching right now, we can go and explain how capture weight works. So in this game, units do not capture at the same speed as other units. If you look at the Warbear Riders, it's a very slow capture even though they're at full HP. And that is because cavalry and other mobile units will generally just have a harder time capturing points. This is a balance thing, so CA manually set it so that units will capture slower depending on their type. And for the specific numbers, cavalry will be capturing at 1/3 the speed of other units. And that's why those Warbear Riders were just not worrying at all. The fastest capture units are infantry, and the slowest capture units, I think, are single entities? Oh, geez, I swear I had a graph. Yeah, single entity heroes and those types of units will generally capture the slowest, according to my graph, although my gut tells me that's not actually how it works, but you know, whatever. Whatever. How low are flying units when you land? Oh, well, they go to the same level as everyone else, but flying units do not actually capture at all, which is sort of one of their main downsides, and they're only there sort of just as a quick mobile tool. Nice! Another victory! Look at that! We have a positive win rate. Amazing. Alright, sweet. Let's queue up again. Now, if only Slaanesh's roster actually had a healthy amount of units, unfortunately they don't. So the viewer suggestions don't really get us anywhere, but you know, we'll do what we can. That's true. Artillery do have just abysmal capture weight, but most people don't capture with artillery. Yeah, Bubba's Big Blast giving us with the info. Very nice. Alright. Anyways, back to some more Slaanesh action. Yo, I can't wait to have a Nurgle day, though. That should be pretty fun. Alright, so we played with Nakari. We played with the Herald. I feel like now, let's play with an Exalted Keeper of Secrets. These guys are quite scary. They're basically mini Nakaris. And they have a slightly different loadout. The biggest difference for them is that they have this. So they gain leadership when guys are looking to rout. Basically, if they're wavering, just about to run off the battlefield or running, then this guy's going to be healing up quite dramatically. So we definitely want to be running him. 2 Keepers of Secrets? Sure. We haven't done that yet, yeah. And I haven't run Fiends yet. Seekers? Sure. Well, I could do like sort of a mass cavalry playstyle. That could be quite fun. So like 2 giant chunky single entities and then a bunch of mobility. Could be pretty good. Let's see. I will go Lash of Slaanesh again. Phantasmagoria is just great in general. Oh, and look at that, it's Tzeentch. All right. Now this changes things. Tzeentch is famous for being one of the hardest matches for Slaanesh to actually win. That's going to be a bit of a problem because we are playing as Slaanesh, but I do have a few shenanigans that I can employ to hopefully pull out a sneaky win. He could go. Yeah, this could be rough. We'll see. We'll see. We're fine. We're fine. It's just like campaign. So, Tzeentch has a ton of magic abilities and a ton of air superiority. Yeah, cavalry only challenge. Hey, you know, that could be fun. Tzeentch has a ton of air superiority. And that means that basically, if controlled correctly, Tzeentch can almost always secure a good charge with Furies. And on top of that, Tzeentch also can spam spells and kill my large single entities incredibly quickly. But this map does have a forest, as you can see here, and it does have a few avenues to flank, although it is a little bit sketchy. But mostly they have forests, and I can essentially just hide in them for the majority of the battle. And when the time comes, I can pounce on top of his forces and hopefully just clear them out nice and quickly. Of course, this is going to be easier said than done, but that's the plan. That's the plan. Why give up almost all passives on the Lord? So that's specifically because my Lord is actually a little bit of a liability in this game. They're going to be having a very hard time going out into the open to fight because Tzeentch can so easily just pick off my units. So instead, the plan B is to make them extremely cheap so that I'm not hurt too bad if they're hiding in the shadows. Alright, this looks pretty good. I do want a little bit more cavalry, don't I? Seekers are also just an amazing unit. Fiends. Fiends of Slaanesh are great. I have a ton of cavalry. I'm fairly resistant to sniping now. And then the Furies are sort of just a skirmish in the air. I think this is okay. It's not marvelous, but it'll do. Now, I could run Cultists, but those are boring. Who needs Cultists, right? Yeah, Keepers of Slaanesh, the air sniping's going to be terrible, but there's a chance that if he goes enough guys on the ground, we'll be able to win it. There is another fail case too, though. If this guy decides to go all melee, we run into a problem. Yeah, boo to Cultists. Let's just go cavalry builds all day. That sounds way more fun. But yeah, so the Cultists, they have a big problem because basically, wait, no, I said the Cultists? Yeah, no, Cultists aren't that much of a problem. They're just very strong. But Tzeentch, if he goes all melee and I go all cavalry, it means that basically I can't take a very strong melee engagement. And on this map, it's very easy to lock down these choke points. But hey, you know, if our opponent makes some misplays, I'll be taking as much advantage as humanly possible. Is Slaanesh the second worst faction in a multiplayer? No, actually, they are the worst faction in multiplayer. And I'm not saying that because I'm playing Slaanesh. I must reiterate. But they're pretty terrible. I think if you look at all the major tournaments, like, the number of Slaanesh games is essentially nothing. But, you know, such is the way of things. Anyways, what do we have for our opponent? He went for a mass range build. Yes. There's a chance, guys. There's a chance we can win it. Alright, so here's the plan. Grab all the cavalry. He has screamers. These guys, they have anti-large, quite strong on the charge against cavalry, but they are very, very squishy. Which means that even if he charges my cav, I can countercharge him with my abundance of extra cavalry on the flank. So they're not exactly too frightening. Not to mention I can also spam Furies if I really want to. But you know what? Maybe I do want to. Will they just lose to the flyer? I think I will. I think I will, just as a safety net in case he does decide to take a fight. But I don't really need to, you know, play too aggressively with them. Anyways, the plan for today, I want to essentially take such a decisive engagement on the ground that this guy has no more army to actually have pull over the battlefield. If I can manage to do that, I'll be set. Now, he does have a few Chaos Knights. Those guys are terrifying, as they are very elite high armored units. Of course, he does have a ton of infantry here. And he has summoned some Furies for himself too, which means that the air game is now a losing fight for me, and I have to be very wary about that. Let's see, is he landing? He is landing, the madman. Okay, so this is a good fight for me, as it means that all my cavalry can basically just dive in there onto the fight. These Furies are going to be fighting over here, and I'm going to bait them out into landing. So basically landing with my own Furies, and then counter-charging with my cavalry as soon as these guys hit the deck. Come on, get on the ground. There we go, nice. So now that they're on the ground, I can go ahead and take that fight. This fight over here is going great. His Furies are crumbling, and we've already taken our first minor advantage for this battle. Of course, the Screamers are still very good at trading, but overall, I think we are still, yeah, we're still doing good as long as he's not landing charges on me. And as long as we take 2-on-1 fights with Furies, we should be winning the air battles too. So already you can see we've pulled a 1,000 gold lead, which is pretty good considering you start with 1,000 gold, but he still has a lot of infantry units here. However, there is a weakness to our opponent that we will be abusing, and that is the fact that he simply has too much range. He's pulling forwards to take a fight against us, and his knights are a little bit far back. This means that I can take a pretty decisive engagement now with all of my cavalry, and with a few flanks on the Furies, his forces should be crumbling rather quickly. We'll see how it actually plays out, especially since he has some guys there in the forest that I have to worry about. And because they're so strong in melee, I'm going to send cavalry on them and keep my Furies around just for safety instead. Just to help with this frontline engagement. Here we go, his knights, they finally do activate. A little bit too slow though on the draw. That's going to be a very nice advantage for me. Now I could summon chariots, not useful in the current situation. Instead, what I really want is, I would really want something to deal with these Chaos Knights. Seekers, well, Fiends are probably my best option here. And I think that's basically it. Yeah, I just want Fiends. They're very mobile and they should be able to trade quite well. Of course, I have my 2 keepers, and they're also going to be killing those knights pretty effectively. Although this pocket over here is sort of looking a little bit more sketchy for me by the second. I'm going to sort of just, I'm going to worry about that fight a little bit later. And actually, instead, I'm going to disengage and find myself a little bit of a better position. And it looks like his, the Screamers actually managed to stay fighting for a while. That's pretty terrifying. Have you tried the double flaming chariot? Ooh. Against, with the new Squealers ROR? Oh, I have. Sadly, it doesn't really feel too good. Yeah, the double chariot, they're okay, but, you know, it's nothing amazing, sadly. Alright, now this fight's actually going pretty badly for me. I'm going to disengage. Because look at this, the value is even, and the longer I stay there getting shot at, the worse it's going to go for me. So we're just going to wait and sort of build up value with some comeback advantage. I want to wait for him to get to 1,000 points, and then I want to push the offensive immediately after. Hopefully capturing this middle point by the time he hits 1,000. I'm also going to grab a unit of spawn since they'll be pretty good in a frontline engagement. Oh, and it looks like he has some blue horrors. Let's see if I can charge them with my cavalry over here. This force over here is actually pretty small. So if I can stall out his infantry for a bit, I should be able to take a decisive engagement. Did you handicap not bringing the Marauder blobs? Marauder blobs are okay, but honestly, I'm not a huge fan of them. I think you can make do without. Alright, now let's see if we can actually win this. So I want this squad to dive in on the chariots, or on the cavalry. And then I want my cavalry and basically everything else to fight those exalted pinks. And I'm thinking that should be a fairly safe engagement. There they are. And, oh no, there's just blue horrors. Where are the pinks at? Let's see if I can find them. My Furies are on the search. There they are. And even though the Furies are going to die to them, it's basically just a stalling maneuver. I just want to make sure that they're not shooting while I kill off these knights as fast as humanly possible. Oh, dang, he's still firing. He's still firing. Well, that's pretty scary. But we did catch the knights, and we're going to heavily debuff them. We do have Marauders also getting into the fray, and it seems like this fight went pretty well. Most of his supplies are in the distance, while most of mine are actually in the fight, which means we have a very nice advantage for ourselves going. And I think that's the point captured too, just in time for us to enjoy some of those extra points that we get from being behind. Very good. That's going to be our saving grace this game. Alright, in the meantime, let's go ahead and finish off those Exalteds. And now that I have air superiority, that means it's time to summon more Furies. Yeah, Zash, ladder's actually pretty fun, I'm not gonna lie. It's pretty fun for casual games. I think for myself, if I'm like really hardcore training for tournaments, generally I don't play too much ladder, just because I have specific training partners that I like to practice with. But it's still quite good overall, I will say. Alright, nice. Exalteds are caught and on the run, and I can hopefully proceed to army wiping him here. It seems like he's taking a few bad engagements, which is going to be our advantage. A couple of whips of Slaanesh too should do fine. Thankfully, the Forsaken for Tzeentch were nerfed, and he's going for a big bombardment. So this spell is quite scary. It is basically just a huge missile barrage, and the moment you see it drop, you want to dodge as soon as possible. Otherwise, it will just annihilate your forces. Thankfully, we do manage to dodge it just in time. And right now, we're just sort of just winning by ignoring most of his forces. All these guys over here, they're not really engaged, so that should be very good for us. And I can summon cavalry behind them to flank. How magnificent. Never been great at cavalry micro. Honestly, the game is sort of really bad at rewarding cavalry micro. Okay, nice. So it looks like he's going for a big snipe on my lord. So I'm just going to desummon him so I don't get any penalties for losing him. Oof, he does get a pretty nasty breath attack, though. That brought him back up in value. That's terrifying. Alright. The knights are back, too. I'll get my spawn to fight them. And let's go ahead and get some more Furies going. What are these guys? Blue horrors? Okay. That's weird. The ammunition wasn't showing up, but that's totally fine. Nice. And I'm going to ignore this point and go for his back point now. Technically, it is to my opponent's advantage, having you know, closer reinforcement points, but I'm not especially worried about that. I can make do with the circumstances here. Not to mention it will also be pretty good for a flanking maneuver. Thank goodness I managed to dodge with my Furies there. And we don't want to get engaged just yet. Instead, I think I want to fight this pocket. Okay, nice. Let's go ahead and capture this back point now. Because I definitely don't want him to be controlling 2 points at the same time. That's a pretty huge advantage for him. Yeah, cavalry's a little bit weird. They sort of have a problem where sometimes they just don't disengage very well. It's a little bit strange, but what can you do? Nice, and it looks like we have managed to secure this back point. Now, this means we have about 6 minutes to secure this middle. Assuming that he doesn't take this back point too, which is a pretty reasonable amount of time. The battle has lasted 10 minutes so far, so basically 50% of what you guys have seen. We need to win the game decisively by then. Whoops! Oh, wrong motion. There we go. Yeah, I don't think that's impossible though, especially given that he's trading out his units. And the more he trades, the more he trades out his units, the better the situation will get for us, as it'll become easier and easier to sort of just steal these points from him. And then from there, we should be able to just 3-cap him. That's the idea. We'll see how well it actually plays out. A couple bad engagements will essentially doom us here. But his spawn are getting taken out now. He has a summon over here, and I can counter that with some cavalry along the side. This fight's going pretty well for us too, although it looks like he's firing in combat, which is actually going pretty well for him. Let's see if I can push my Seekers a little bit forwards just to shut that down. The blue horrors will trade so extremely cost effectively. You have to be very careful that you're reducing the amount of time they're firing as much as possible. Knockdown immunity seems to be the worst. What, like just in terms of bugs or what? I'm not too peeved about knockdown immunity. I feel like you can sort of work around it pretty well. All right, nice. But we've successfully beat his pocket over there. He no longer has basically anything on the ground left except for blues. So I think we should be able to win it. I may be calling it early, but we have a huge army size over him. Of course, a lot of this is because of the comeback mechanic, but I'll abuse whatever mechanics I can to get wins out with Slaanesh. Do you like the multiplayer balance mods? I haven't really even looked at those mods. Generally, because anyone can play any faction, I'm sort of fine with however the game ends up being balanced. So usually I'm not really too worried about using mods and trying those out. Oof, I didn't see that that bombardment. That's gonna get some damage, but I might be able to disengage with my cavalry. It actually fires for so long, you can oftentimes dodge out of it while it's still shooting. And it looks like we do manage to make it out. Sweet. Very, very nice. Now it's just a matter of cleanup. I can capture the rest of the points. And then we have a victory on our hands. Very good. And at this point, yeah, he realizes it. The game's over. GG! Look at that. That's 3 wins with Slaanesh. 75% win rate. Amazing. And you can also see why Keepers of Secrets will have a hard time. The single Herald that was way cheap, that is like a decent amount cheaper than my Keepers, made almost 3 times as much value. It can be quite rough. The blues got insane value too, but in the end we managed to pull through. Very good. Hey, and look, another match. Now, here's the thing. The moment we face up against anyone that is like a tournament player, it's going to be very hard to win with Slaanesh. But on quick battle, you can win with anyone if you've practiced enough. All right, nice. Let's switch the banner to this cool red color. That seems pretty cool, right? And I'm sort of liking this cavalry style, I'm not going to lie. We can cut out the cultists too. Will you use Fiends of Slaanesh? Will I? That sounds like a suggestion if I've ever heard it. Let's take 3, why not? I don't care what he's playing. I'm sure the Fiends will be useful. Not lying though, Sleens are... Sleens. Yeah, Sleens of Slaanesh. These guys are really good. They're almost as good as the spawn of Slaanesh. And it's because they give amazing mass. Just a glorious unit. Are you going to stack with your... He's playing Tzeentch again? Oh, we got another Tzeentch player. All right. What's the map? Mountains of Morn. I'll go a very similar army to last time. Yeah, 75% win rate with Slaanesh. So OP. So OP. Let's see. I think reinforcements infantry is a good way to go. I actually didn't like the spawn very much last time. I will go for a soul grinder. Lord will be in the reinforcing army And Soul Grinder is going to be my big tanky boy. Lord's actually going to be super thinned down. I probably won't even summon her this game. And then, let's see, there we go. Hey, we got the 0 spend, perfect. We'll get 1 chariot and then a bunch of other cavalry. This is basically, yeah, this is more or less what I want, right? Yeah, this is more or less what I want. Trying to think. Yeah, we're good. This will be fine. It's gonna be the same style as last time, playing very, very safely and trying to get efficient trades. If we can get them to capture a few points too, we should be able to come back and hit them with 1,000,000 units. Chevron the Marauders? I would, but strangely enough, chevroning reinforcements can be a downside because it makes them more expensive, which means summoning them will actually be more difficult. And because chevrons are generally not cost efficient, it's actually a downside. Believe it or not. Man, everyone wants a chevron, though. Maybe I should have done it for chat. All right. Let's see what we got. So we have a Soul Grinder Lord. Ooh, I like this color. It's like an orangey maroon. That's nice. I should use this more whenever I play Slaanesh. And by whenever I play Slaanesh, I mean basically never. Anyways, let's go ahead and ready up. We have no deployment. There's basically nothing we need to do here. And here's the plan. I'm going to cram myself here in the corner and wait until he gets into an exposed position. And when that happens, then we're going to burst out, catch him out, run him over. It's going to be glorious. For him, he has a large army. 7. Which actually isn't immense. I've seen Tzeentch armies can get as big as 14 units. So I'm expecting a few elite units. In this case, we see Doom Knights and a Big Bird. Big Bird coming in with the Air Superiority Dominance spell. Every spell in the book. This is vastly inefficient. Don't do this, guys. And he also has... that's basically it. All right. So basically overkill on spells. Don't blob up. And I'll more or less be fine. It is Final Transmutation. So we do want to spread out just a tiny bit. Although I could bait it out. But right now we're sort of chilling. This is a perfect time to sit back, relax, and chill with chat. Because I want him to move out and actually capture a few of these points first. Yeah, he's playing like the AI with the single lord. Well, that's how people play against the AI. Sometimes the AI actually moves out and attacks. But yeah, the general plan here is I can really sort of ignore the air dominance. If you look at the pressure that he has from the air, it's much lower than last game. This guy doesn't have ranged. And he has to land to actually make a battlefield impact. Either that or like a final transmutation or something. So I'm not really worried about that. Yeah, so the Doom Knights too, they have to touch ground before they can really do anything. So that's pretty good. What I'm worried about is if he gets a big final transmutation off. Thankfully for me, I don't have to worry about magic because my lord is nice and safe in the summoning pool. So, essentially, the game will get better for me the longer it goes. Here's the reasoning. Magic is a flat amount of damage, and as the armies get larger, it can only kills less and less % of your army as time goes on. And that can be pretty huge for us. So as long as I can sort of manage that as well as possible, I think we'll be okay. Meanwhile, while we're sort of waiting around, I can now begin the amazing surround. The triple surround from all of these points. And we're just going to collapse in on this little group here. It should be a fairly decisive victory, but do I even want to take that just yet? He might go for this third capture point, and I do want to be slightly behind in victory points against Tzeentch. So fingers crossed we can do that. Hey, Looperden, hello. This makes you want to give multiplayer a try. It's not bad, honestly. There's a lot less cheese than the old Warhammer, so yeah, it's quite nice. Here's the thing. This would be a very nice pick for me. I would almost assuredly be able to run over everything here. The downside, I would end up capturing this point, and that would actually sort of punish me. So instead, you know what? We'll have him run off the point. That's actually a fairly decent trade for me. And if he's only holding one, it means my army can get bigger, and we can sort of build up a better composition to deal with him. Another great thing I can do, this is sort of just shenanigans. This is not actually a good strategy, but I can spawn camp him a little bit, depending on what he summons. The big problem about spawn camping is that generally your opponent can just get some very scary units spawned, and then they'll trade even if they're surrounded. Something like Chaos Spawn are almost the perfect unit for countering spawn camps. But if he misplays, I'll take advantage of that happily. Let's see. I do want Furies here, by the way, too. They're quite good against Doom Knights because they do have armor piercing. And he hasn't been summoning a lot of air, so air superiority for me is back on the table, which is quite nice. You can see the fear. He's fully boxed into this interior area. And he's landed his Lord. It looks like he is unaware that his Lord will not be able to capture. It's a little bit unfortunate for my opponent. And more or less the biggest fear that I have is if he gets a big final transmutation. He also has a lot of Forsaken, which can be quite scary. Do I have a Chariot? I do. Amazing. We're going to use this to punch through his front lines. Alright. Yeah, some of the maps aren't super fun. It sort of depends. You can get by with how the maps are right now. So it's not like the end of the world. You can sort of work around it. Although I do prefer larger maps, especially for factions like Slaanesh. Okay, this guy is blobbing up so much. There's no way I don't take this fight, right? This is such a good engagement for me. He's essentially completely and utterly just out of position with all of his blue horrors. So I can just dive straight on in. Let's see. These fiends are going to go in first, and then we're going to leave our cavalry in the back to countercharge. My Soul Grinder's just going to dive right on in, as he's sort of great for that. And my Furies are going to go straight for the Doom Knights. This is a very nice engagement for them. And as long as none of these guys are firing, we should be value trading. Oh my gosh, that value. Look at that. We are trading 4-1 currently. In the current state of things. His Lord is out of position, which is perfect because Final Transmutation is out of position. And he goes for the bait. He charges in with his Doom Knights, which means we can counter sandwich him. And I think this is the end of our opponent. Not too much you can really do here trading this far down. This is immense for us. Oh my gosh. Look at this. He's baiting Final Transmutation. Not yet. I'm keeping a close eye on his Lord. He does go for the big summon in the distance. I'm going to just send in my guys to give them a hard time. They are grouped up, which is going to be pretty rough for them. The more grouped up your infantry is, the harder they will actually... Well, yeah, if your infantry is grouped up, they basically won't fire. So that's pretty rough. That's pretty rough for this guy over here. But, you know, we'll give him a clean execution. As soon as we clean up these guys, I'm going to go ahead and triple cap them, and then it should be a victory. At this point, the battle is won. It is almost impossible for us to lose outside of me going AFK. But who knows? Who knows? Overconfidence has screwed me over before. All right, nice. That blue horror spawning is going to get really nicely overwhelmed. He's gonna fly in for a Final Transmutation. Do I really care about it? A little bit. I'm gonna pull these guys back. And yeah, I don't need to stick around here. I can see it coming miles away. I don't want to get Final Transed. Instead, I'm actually just gonna leave my Seekers here because it's gonna be insanely annoying for him to deal with those guys. But nice. Let the cleanupping begin. So, I'm just going to do the usual strategy. Get the cavalry into position here. Rear charge the spawn with my Furies. That should go very well. And then, yeah, and then we just sort of bounce around with our cavalry and clean up. We're good. Toggle in the options. What are you talking about? How do you keep unit highlights on? Yeah, if you hold spacebar, there's a whole bunch of things you can do here. Selection markers are on for me. So if you wanna have the same sort of layout that I do, you can do it like that. Hold spacebar, take a screenshot of this, and then just copy that. All right, nice. So the spawn, we got the full surround here. For those of you that don't know, Slaanesh has a wonderful passive that basically gives their units double damage if you have a surround for the demon units. This over here, devastating flanker, ×2 damage. And as you can see, in the time it took me to explain that, the Chaos Spawner already melted. And yeah, that is one of the main strengths of Slaanesh. If you can actually secure a mobility advantage, Slaanesh is one of the best factions for being ahead with. So, yeah, that's what makes him great. And nice, Doom Knights are going to go down. And it looks like the big bird has landed. So I do want to take this fight, but I have to be very careful about AoE. Essentially, the plan is we're just going to send in one cavalry unit at a time. And then as they rout off, we'll send in more. But yeah, we have enough of a lead now where we're just going to secure the 3 cap, and that should end the game as soon as possible. Preferably if I really army wipe them, like I clear all these guys, then that should also do it too. Nice, let's go ahead and get into the flanking position. Great thing about this patch too is that, oh, they killed the Furies. I guess Doom Knights are sort of better than I thought. Anyways, great thing about this patch is that the reinforcement funds are quite a bit smaller, which means that you don't really have to worry about getting flanked, right? Before, your opponent would have so many funds that they could just spawn units from here and flank you immediately after you get a surround like this. But now, because of the patch, we can gloriously watch this wonderful engagement over here. Just a huge surround on every single unit. Not a single shot of blue fire even gets launched into the air. And that should be the victory. He does get his big AoE spell though. Let's see if we can dodge that a little bit. Hey, look at that though. That was a pretty good surround, if I do say so myself. Although it probably could have still gone a bit better. I think that should be good enough. Let's see. I guess we'll summon our Lord. Lead from behind as always, right? She can witness the destruction without actually doing anything. Yeah, but GG indeed. Can I say orgasmic on stream? Is that gonna... I'm gonna get demonetized? We'll see. We'll see. That's as far as I'm gonna go. I know people do swear in their videos, right? So it can't be that much worse than swearing, right? Right? We're good? We're good? You know what? Saying that alone already has me on edge now. I feel like YouTube's gonna kick down my door and just put me in horny jail or something. Only when playing Slaanesh. There you go. That's the correct answer. Alright. Why not send some Furies on his Lord? His Lord is a powerhouse. He would probably win it. But, you know, we'll try it. We might as well. It's a medical term? Yes. This is a medical science. This is an educational channel, guys. Now, we're here to talk about Slaanesh and all of their lore implications. Precisely. Oh, man. You know, if the FBI showed up at my door right now, I would probably think it's my PC. And I would open it up to them. Oh man, I can't believe I'm still waiting on that. It has been months. Months! And one of the main reasons why I'm not playing a campaign right now, because it's so close to showing up. Alright, anyways, let's go ahead and finish the job. We're gonna go and summon all of our units. And we'll see. Chat has wondered for us. Nope, he denies chat. Well, rip, but at least we got the win. But yeah, the Lord of Change is actually really good in combat. The Exalted one, anyways. So usually when you send Furies on him, you're trading down, which can be pretty rough. So satisfying to have a unit completely dissipate versus demon factions. Oh yeah, it's great. You get to see him get completely wiped out. Amazing. GG guys, GG. Look at that, 4 wins, 1 loss. 1 loss. Why did I even pluralize it? Let's see. Can I do it so that it looks even better? Whoops. There we go. Yeah, get wrecked losses. I can't believe we lost one at the start though. That's such a shame. All right. This is why I think it should be possible to get army losses in Dom. Probably. The thing about army losses, it's pretty unenjoyed mechanic. I think a lot of people generally, sort of get it wrong. Like, they'll get army lost and they feel like it shouldn't have happened. So maybe that's a reason. Maybe CA just didn't think about it. Who knows? But it would speed up a few Dom games, that's for sure. All right, what are we looking at? What lore do we want? First person that gives me a lord choice, I'm gonna go for. So chat, now is your Now is your time. Kislev again. Dang it. What's it? I need Furies. And I'm sort of tempted to go a mass infantry Slaanesh. This is pretty hype, right? Exalter Seeker on a chariot. Is it bad? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. You typed it in chat, it's happening. On a Seeker chariot. Against Kislev, it's not the end of the world. What do I want? Pit of Shades is pretty nice. And I guess just Pit of Shades. You know what? Let's just do this. Yeah, this is a good loadout. Nice and decently cheap. Here's the plan. Here's the plan. Chariots will murder your infantry like no tomorrow. It's not even close. Be the worst time they've ever had in their lives. But if you do it correctly, right? The Zap Rannigan strategy of military tactics. If you send enough waves of men towards your opponent, they will eventually run out of killing power. And you will win the game. So with that idea in mind, why not just do something absurd? Like this. Is this a terrible idea? Let me see. Let me just contemplate my decisions real quick. Alright, let's see. So I have 1,000,000 Marauder Spears. If he goes for chariots, I think I want... I think I do want at least a little bit more, right? Like, I think 3 spawn is better, because then we have enough mass to sort of hold the fort. Lord is a Fury unit. That's not how you type Fury. Do it for the memes? I feel like it. Doable on Silver Spire? That's true. That is sort of true. It's not, guys. It's totally terrible on Silver Spire, but like, come on, look at this. You know what? We don't need Furies. My infantry's gonna shut down the ranged. Instead, I probably want something that can fight. And I feel like a Soul Grinder is probably what I want. Cycle charge some lords, right? This is way better. I feel much better about this. Let's see some... Yeah, there you go. There you go. We made it, guys. We got there. Let's go ahead and get one more Demonette just to suffer a little bit. We've been winning too much today. Alright, so here's the plan. Here's the plan. We just gotta... It's basically exactly the same as what we've been doing with our cavalry, except worse, right? So... if he really hunkers down in a choke point, that's a problem. But it just depends on his layers, really. If he has a bunch of layers of infantry, that could be pretty rough. Oh, he readied up. Well, I guess we're not getting Furies. Spawn it is. But they do sort of have a hardish time firing into infantry. I don't think this is impossible. Especially if he goes a bit too tall. We might be able to just have enough capture weight. Are KOS still not viable? KOS? Kossars? Are you talking about... What is KOS? Keepers of Secrets. Yes, they're not viable. Go for Soul Grinders instead. They're better. Well, actually, no. They are viable. They're just not efficient. They're not meta. So that's a bit better. You know, we did manage to win against Tzeentch with Keepers. So, you know, do that. Your Vampire Coast is a thing of beauty. Thank you very much, Cooper. I try my best. Yeah, when Immortal Empires comes out, I'll be trying it out. Especially if this many people are interested in watching multiplayer. That's a very good sign. But okay. First things first, we take a look at his army. We see that it's completely massive. This means he probably is going for a mass range build, which means we want to get a very efficient surround on him. Here's the problem. How does one get enough surround on this map? We probably have to push through these 2 choke points as fast as possible. And then there's the other problem, where if he goes... Well, actually, no. If he has chariots, we can hang back, so maybe it's okay. You're playing versus Palpatine right now, taking Tzeentch against his ogres. Oh, boy. Oh, yeah, that's going to be a rough one. Tzeentch builds against ogres, you basically guarantee snipe their lord. And your front line will almost always win in melee if you go for the right build. Forsaken and Spawn being the main thing that you want to go for. Hey, Giles. Giles? Hello. Hello and welcome. Let's see what this guy's got for us. He has a glorious mass infantry army. Not a single chariot in sight. Bless this man. He has some Warbear Riders too, which are actually going to be strangely weak against our build. Warbear Riders don't really work too well in a long grind against infantry. So we do have a bit of an advantage there. And I'm going to be going very aggressively, taking this position here. Any units that he summons, we're going to catch out, I believe. I also want to start summoning Marauders. The reason being these guys are shielded and going to be my main tool to shut down all of this painful range. Yeah, these guys are... To engage on top of them, I have to get us around. So hopefully I can bait them out. I do have Fury summons too, so that could save me. And we can get him pretty angsty, right? If we just spam Pit of Shades on his units. That is also a means of success. Because we just slowly gain value over time. He summons a Snow Leopard, not a problem. Snow Leopards, generally, they don't trade very well into infantry. In fact, they trade pretty terribly into infantry. So that should be another pretty big win for us. There we go. We see he's moving in a little bit. Can we get him out of position? I'm not entirely sure. But I'll keep playing it safe. If he summons cavalry over here, my Demonettes should win that fight pretty decisively, which is why I'm not worried about that flank. And I think now is the time. Now is the time I want to summon Spawn. Now, I know it's a mass infantry meme, but Spawn are great because of their mass. So essentially what they plan to do, they want to be pushing through into the back line of this infantry formation. Basically just, basically just pushing right into the back, and then we're mostly good to go. They'll be able to make sure that all of these armored Cossars aren't firing, and then my front line will be able to trade very well in melee. What are Snow Leopards good for? They are very good for capturing points, and they're pretty good at killing single entities quickly. Very big distinction compared to killing single entities and trading well into them, because generally Snow Leopards will lose in a vacuum. But they're really good if you're in the lead, because they just get things done very quickly. They're like, it's like crunch time for software development, right? You want to have Snow Leopards for that. I don't know where I'm going with this analogy. I'm bailing out. Anyways, yeah, they're really good for that, and that's one reason why you might want them. My opponent's going to be very wary about taking this engagement. You can see he only has 2 flanks exposed right now, so he doesn't really have a... Yeah, I don't really want to take a fight there. Instead, I'd much rather wait and sort of just continue building up. He might push onto the low ground here, but that would open up a little bit more of a flank for me. Isn't Pendulum better than Pit of Shades? They're both roughly equal. Pit of Shades has much better armor piercing values though, which can be good against Kislev. Okay, and the Snow Leopards move up. What do they plan to do is the question. I'm going to bring up my Exalted Demonettes to rampage them. Oh, okay, they're capturing the point. This is good for me. Like I said, Slaanesh loves playing from behind in many ways, and while he holds this point, that's a pretty good advantage for us. Oh, he doesn't cap it. He leaves it alone. Very interesting. In the meantime, I guess I'll just be annoying. What can I hit with the Pit of Shades? Armored Cossars have less range and are actually naturally a little bit less of a problem for us. Ooh, how good is his splitting? He's thinking about it. He's maneuvering. Oh, he's shooting at me. Okay. Let's see. We'll shoot at these Cossar spears. I want his front line to be a bit weaker, because then it'll crumble apart a tiny bit faster. And there we go. We caught him. It's an overcast, so it should more or less kill them at this point. Bad Enticity, bad. I need to do it. This is the only way to win. And for those of you saying that Pendulum is better than Pit of Shades, I show you this. Glorious, glorious Pit of Shades. Alright, there we go. He desummons his units. Totally fine. And at some point, I do actually want to start capping, because you don't want to just run out of you know, units to summon, because then you don't really benefit at all from having extra capture weight. So let's go ahead and go for the triple cap now. We've waited around for about 5 minutes, which means the army sizes are quite significantly larger. And in a battle where we're dealing with army sizes like this one, I think I'm advantaged. Let's see though, he does have a couple archers firing. You can actually dodge with infantry. If you believe hard enough, they will actually dodge. And I'll just keep on summoning guys. He does go for the middle point. Good for him. And actually, that means now we can choose not to cap. That's right. We baited him out. We got him to cap the middle point. Very nice. All right. So now what I can do is I can wait to pull a bit more of a lead. Although I feel like I do sort of want to cap at this point in the fight. It does feel like it's a little bit more efficient, isn't it? Yeah, because then, like, you know, I am actually going to run out of guys. Alright, don't mind me. Just gonna delete this this unit of Kossars. There we go. And goodbye. Alright, anyways. Enough shenanigans, right? He has to push out into the open eventually, and I have a much larger army now. This means I'm quite heavily advantaged against him. In terms of the fights that I can take. So I do really want to be capping now. So let's go ahead and spawn a few more guys. Yeah, 5D chess. Oh man, and then let's see. Yeah, we'll just triple cap now. I have much more capture weight than those kiddies, so I can really take advantage of this quite well for myself. And these guys will just stop any reinforcements from that area. I doubt he'll summon there, but you never know. You never know. You want to have contingencies. And he moves up. He moves up, but not soon enough. Get wrecked, son. Yeah, so we have a triple cap going now. And now the timer has started. Our opponent has a conundrum. He must choose to win via capture points. Or he has to win via capture points in roughly, let's see here. That's 1,000 seconds divided by 60. That seems way too low. 16 minutes? Anyways, what's happening? Yeah, he has to win this game in fairly quick speed, and I don't think he can. Let's see. We've already gathered a decent amount of points. I don't need to take a fight right now, because here's the thing: when you're ahead in points or in victory tickets, you don't really need to engage at all, right? The faster you engage and take a bad fight, the faster your opponent is going to be coming back. So we can sort of just wait it out. Although right now, you know, things are sort of getting a bit dicey. I think we will take this fight. This is a pretty sketchy fight, I'm not gonna lie, but we'll see if it's a bit botched. I sort of want to see how it plays out. Let's go ahead and grab my Chariot Lord and just move our way in. Now, like I said, the goal is to shut down as many ranged units as possible. Our Lord's going to be dancing around and dodging the cats as best as she can. Hopefully just pulling them through the infantry. Nice. And as long as they're distracted, we should be able to jump all of these guys. Our guys in the distance, it looks like they're doing fine. And it looks like the fight's going pretty well for us. I'm not entirely sure. He does have some spells going off, and I don't know. Most of them aren't shooting right now, but it's not a perfect fight. How's the value trading going? Actually pretty bad for us. So I do really want to capture this victory point then, because without it, we're going to be running into some issues on points. At this point, we don't really have much of an advantage left when it comes to value trading. So time is of the essence here. He's going to be sending in all of his cats on my Lord. She's going to be taking insane amounts of damage. But one of the cats is gone, and we do finally have a speed buff on our guys. She's going to cycle charge the kitties. And we are capturing the point. That's a very good sign. Too bad our guys here in the distance are losing, but we've already garnered ourselves a 2,000 point advantage. So we should be able to maintain that, and then I think in like roughly 5 minutes we can end up winning the game, if everything plays out as expected. In the meantime, we'll just keep spamming out units. We waited a really long time before taking the engagement, so it means that even though we're taking bad trades, we've sort of mitigated the losses, essentially. Yeah, because, you know, if you're like 1,000 points behind, but your army size is very large, then you're basically in a good position. It's sort of the opposite situation of what we were seeing before. And yes, we do have elite infantry. They're great. And look at that. All the capture kitties are routing. Very good. He's now starting to spam cavalry to try and get my guys off. But we just have so much mass on the point. I don't think the cavalry is really going to do it for him. Yeah, they might even win the fight, but even if they do, we do pretty well simply because they're gonna take forever to actually conquer this point over here. And look at that, the mass infantry. I think it's working, dare I say it. My lord's going to be pretty careful right now. Of course, there are still cats trying to go after her, but I'm not too worried overall. And instead of summoning guys I'll get here quickly, I'm going to be summoning spawn simply because they will hold the area for longer. Very important distinction, which will be helping us out a lot. And this far point over here, you can see just how bad it is. Like how long it takes cavalry to actually hold that area. And that's going to be hurting my opponent quite a bit for this battle here. And in fact, this fighting is going so well for us. I think we're good. I think we're good, because at this point, we've sort of pushed him all the way back into his spawn point. I don't really see many ways that he'll be able to get this middle point, let alone the far point. Of course, we still have to worry about last minute summons, but this is looking quite nice. Who keeps calling me? Montreal? No way. Anyways, yeah, I think we're good. I'll throw down one more Pit of Shades here. Sadly, it won't be overcast. Another Vigor boost to all of my guys, which is essentially an AoE buff. And then, yeah, we've won it. We have 2 capture points. He doesn't have nearly enough here. And in fact, in the effort of trying to steal our point for us, we even managed to catch up back in value, which is amazing for us. Look at that. Yeah, Cossar spam was a little bit of a weird choice, but you know what happens. And this is sort of one of the reasons why you might not want to delay capturing the point for too long. Because eventually, if both sides have infinite funds, it's just going to come down to a big grind fest, and someone's going to win through like victory tickets. So nice. He made a bit of a misplay. I think my opponent waited a tiny bit too long, sadly. But the mass infantry did it, and the exalted demonettes actually did amazing. Mostly because he didn't cast too much magic on them. Look at that. Amazing value on everybody. I didn't even get the soul grinder out. Very good. Alright, what's that? 5 wins? 5 wins. Nice. Let's see if we can get one more game out today. And then tomorrow I'll probably be streaming again. If the PC shows up, I'm gonna be streaming on good old yeah, if the PC shows up, I'm probably gonna stream a campaign. If it doesn't, it'll probably be multiplayer again. Maybe some Nurgle games. Or maybe some meme games, like you can do like a cavalry only multiplayer or something. Flying Taco, well, we lost. Alright, Flying Taco, for anyone who doesn't know him. He is the guy that plays against me in head-to-head. He has won multiple Warhammer tournaments before. So he's gonna be pretty good at micro. We'll see how well he does. Surely not a stream snipe, though. Definitely not. What's the best target for Fascination? It's the most expensive unit that has more than 25 entities in it. That is what'll do best for Fascination. Yeah, so it's a pretty easy metric, right? Just if it looks scary, it's expensive, and it's not a monstrous infantry or a single entity, that's what you want to hit with. Fascination is the one that does damage, right? The first Slaanesh army passive. Yeah, let's finish strong. I wanna beat Flying Taco. From what I've heard, he hasn't played too much ogres, so there's a chance we can do it. I will return with the glorious Nakari. Thankfully, Iron Blasters are much less scary in this meta now, so I don't really have to worry about them. And yeah, we'll go with Slicing Shards. It's a pretty fun ability. Of course, Nakari's not super meta here, but I just like Nakari, so what are you gonna do? Am I right? Let's see. When an enemy is destroyed, not too useful. Melee debuff is good though. Alright, now how do you beat ogres? Ogres generally don't have very good melee. So I think the most meta build would be something like this. You go for a very chunky front line, lots of spawn, little bit of cavalry, and then you want a couple Furies to sort of summon and charge them in the back to break their leadership. But mostly you just want to go for a lot of infantry, some spears, and then very high DPS. Which means Exalted Demonettes should actually be pretty good here. And then that's basically it. Couple of fiends to deal with stone horns. And a couple, let's see. I would love to get some seekers. You know what? I'll go with the Hellstrider. This seems about right. Yeah, let's do this. And then hopefully Nakari doesn't get annihilated. Nakari's probably the weakest link here, isn't he? You know what? If we're playing against Flying Taco, I should probably be a little bit more careful. Let's see. I think... Does this have a leadership debuff? It does. The Withering. Let's do that. Yeah, I don't want to just get waffle stomped by Flying Taco. So we're gonna play a little bit harder here. So these two spells are good. Just some debuffs. The Enfeebling Foe is better versus single entities. This one is just specifically to rout off ogres a little bit faster. Let's see, and then yeah, then that will allow me to go for a little bit more elite, which is good for me. Nice, I'm liking this. And we're on the mountains of Morin too, very fitting for ogres. Yeah, Nakari's very fun, it's true. Oh crap. You know, I would have last minute subbed in Nakari for the terror, but it's too late now. I'm sorry guys, I failed you. Hey Enticity, why do you always try to lose the first capture point? More comeback mechanic? That is correct. So comeback mechanic is sort of busted right now. But it's busted to the point where if you're in a bad matchup, right, it can be good to do. It's not a mechanic that is like completely game breaking, but it's relevant. And that's a bit of the problem there. And it's something that does help me win these fights. I probably won't be using it as much when I'm playing as Nurgle, but here I need a little bit of help where I can get it. Alright, nice. This seems like a good army. Let's do it. I was the chosen one, it's true. Alright. Now, Flying Taco. He has bought 16 units. I suspect he has gone mass Ogre Bull. Maybe 1 million Noblar Trappers. This is a fairly common thing that you see from old school multiplayer veterans. They, because in Warhammer 2, Ogres were sort of busted. They were campaign exclusive units and they would just absolutely do super well in a bunch of matchups. But maybe he doesn't know that they're a little bit more vulnerable here in Warhammer 3. They just simply don't have the infantry support to help them. And if I can rout them off with the Withering, a little bit of a leadership debuff, that's gonna really hurt these Ogre Bulls. He also has a Scrap Launcher, which is great for the memes, but not the strongest unit in the world. I can mostly, you can even dodge it at max range, so I'm not too terrified about it. Yeah, Ogre Bull Mass. Indeed. And that is exactly what he's bought. He's taken some Saber Tusks. If you want to know the matchup between Hellstriders and Saber Tusks, Hellstriders will generally win it, but not without taking some damage. So mostly I just have to make sure I don't get charged by them. And I basically just want to wait to take a good engagement. Once again, it's going to be one of those games. He does have a Scrap Launcher, which is quite scary. And that will sort of let him poke away at me over the course of the game. So to make sure that we're staying up in the trades, I'm mostly going to be playing pretty passive for the beginning phase of this. Oh, what's it? You had some good casts, but bad map control. Yeah, it's all right though. It was a good game. All right, now what do we got? We have... What did he summon? I think I just barely missed it. You can also check out his lords. He has the Thunder Mace, cool explosion ability. And the Maw, of course. Of course, Flying Taco would take that. Troll Guts is pretty typical. Heal and a DPS ability. Exactly what you're used to for these guys. And right now, this is almost a perfect situation for Demonettes. Of course, he might have some... He could have a bunch of Trappers, and I'm actually going to scout him out. Just like a classic RTS, I'm going to grab these Furies. We're going to do a quick flyover. If he doesn't have Trappers, those are the sling guys that the Ogres have, then I can trade pretty well here with Demonettes. If he does have Trappers, it means that I would probably want more Furies just to shut them down when the big fight starts. And if we take a look over here, we're going to see he has absolutely nothing. Nope, he does have a Trapper. There we go. We've seen one. We've seen one. Are there more? It says he has 20 units. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Yeah, he has like 2 hidden units. 2 or 3. There's the trappers. And there's another one. Alright, so he is actually pretty well garrisoned for those guys. Here's a fun thing we could do, though. I could try to vanguard and pick off these guys. I'm sort of wondering what his play is going to be, though. If he plays passively and we both summon our entire armies, I'm pretty sure I win it off the backs of my elite infantry. So, really, the ball is in his court to make a play. And it seems like his first one is going to be capturing the victory point. Now, this is basically saying his gambit is he thinks he can hold the points long enough before I can take them back having a larger army. He's predicting that his army is strong enough where they'll be able to trade well into me and better. We'll see if that actually pays off, though. As for me, I really want to start getting into position to get a proper surround on him. I want one force to hit over here, the bulk of my units hitting from the middle, and then a fairly sizable contingent along the right flank. Because he does have some units deployed there. So these guys would sort of benefit from this open area. And then if he sort of collapses in all into the middle here to avoid this flank, then that should be a pretty good trade for me. We'll see how it actually plays out in practice, though. And I'll get 1 unit of cavalry just in case I want to zoom back behind here and route off some units. Hey, Tariff, hello. We're playing multiplayer today. It's pretty good. Yeah, I'm playing against the Great Flying Taco. Been playing a lot of Slaanesh games. We lost 1 game against Korn. But otherwise, it's been going pretty well. Alright, so first things first, I want to take this fight well. Oh, jeez Louise, that scrap launcher. Got a good hit in. Oh my gosh, those poor demonettes. That's bad. How's prepping the tournament? It's pretty good. I won't be playing in the tournament, just casting, but it's pretty exciting. Get out of there, hide. Hide from the scrap launchers. There we go, they're nice and safe. Nice. Let's go ahead and position these guys. I'm going to do a bit of a feint. I think I'm going to position these guys here threateningly so that these guys feel a little bit worried. And then I'm going to hammer this location since I do have this path over here to dive on in. Let's see. And then, yeah, and then I'll get a spear unit to support. And then it's going to be a big dive in here. I have a pretty big military advantage helping me out. So I'm quite confident I can take this point. But I do want to do so quickly. Preferably before... Yeah, I wanna win that point before he really goes ham. Oh, geez, those demonettes are lucky. Very, very lucky. Yeah. Yeah, but we want to get this as fast as possible. Let's go ahead and just get these guys engaged. The trappers are on the high ground. What a play. And yeah, we're just going to dive right on in. There we go. Furies are just camping on top, being an absolute menace. In the meantime, these demonettes will take the long way around, and these chaos spawn are going to just rush the point to get there a little bit faster. Nice. And now that this is capped, I'll be getting some extra points without really falling too far behind. That's sort of my main advantage here. And it looks like he's pulling in a few guys to try and stop me. He's getting a lot of value from the scrap launchers though, so I'm technically not actually pulling ahead just yet, which is a little bit of the scary part, but there we go. We do have a point capped, and I think I do take this fight. He only has just a bunch of Noblars here, and they're not exactly gonna be great in a grind. Of course, there's the trappers on the high ground. They will be getting a bit of support, but I'm not particularly worried about them. Over here, my demonettes have dived on in, and with my fiends assisting... Oh, actually, he has a couple saber tusks here, so I want to be pretty careful about that. Where's my lord? There we go. We're going to summon some furies, and then that should deal with those guys. And I think... oh, I can't get that. I can't get the big leadership break there just yet. I'm gonna have to wait a second. Still though, saber tusks are having a rough time, and we did rout off one of the ogres. Nice. Let's go ahead and summon in the reinforcements, and then just really hammer this point in. I think this side can start getting fighting too. How's the trading going? Terribly. The trading is going abysmally. Oh my gosh, that's the worst trading I've ever seen. What's this guy doing? All right, so that's a bad sign for us. I was really hoping to get a better fight, but it seems like this choke point is playing out much worse than I would have hoped for. So now I want to sort of shift gears. I really want to shift gears to capturing the points instead, and then winning via that method. Because boy oh boy, we're not gonna have enough comeback points to win off of that. All right, let's go ahead and get some demonettes. Like I said, this high damage DPS infantry is great here, and I want to capture the far point as soon as I can. Looks like this pocket's going to be routing off, which does help us out a lot. Oof, but those scrap launchers are painful. Very, very painful. Not really much I can do about them just yet, though. All right, at least a lot of his units are routing, which is a plus. And it looks like we have won the middle, although he has retaken the side flank. This is good, though, because we will still win if we just hold 2 points long enough. And I think that's going to be the plan. And he summons the Man-Eater pistols. All right. Now, these guys are pretty strong. They're going to be very efficient against my Furies, but a bit less so against my cavalry. I'm hoping that a big cavalry charge should be able to rout them off. And we'll see how that goes. I suspect it could very well go okay. And over here, I'll grab my Seekers, and they'll deal with these Ogre Bulls. Alright, how's the trading now? Trading is still pretty abysmal, I'm not gonna lie. Trading is still pretty bad. So, I wonder why it feels like my army's so much, like, doing so much better, though. It could just be because most of his resources is stuck in scrap launchers. We'll see. Oh, man, and he does get a quick counter summon over there to punish my guys. So that's going to be a little bit painful. Because it means that he's gonna be, he's gonna be trading well down the middle. But if my spawn can sort of just keep him blocked up for a long time, that should still be a pretty good fight for me. How are my Seekers doing? The Seekers are doing great, trading into those Ogre Bulls. And now it comes down to this fight. He has a bunch of ogres, as expected, and he also has they're all at pretty high HP, plus his lord. Oh my gosh, and the maw hits on an overcast. Very painful. But we do still have quite a good surround. Bunch of spawn too. I'm feeling pretty confident about this fight. But it really depends if my lord can take the victory for me. If she can kill off his lord, that would be huge. She does have decent stats, and she is supported by her units. His lord is a little bit lower, so I feel okay about that. Over on the flank here, these demonettes are stopping him from... Oh, we didn't capture the second point. That's so bad. All right, well, now I have to rethink my life choices. So here's the problem. We don't have this point. It does mean that we're not we still have the comeback mechanic, but until we start trading up, this is going to be very rough. We'll see how it plays out. Let's go ahead and throw down another debuff and keep laying into him. He only has Ogre Bulls, so it can't get that bad. We'll see. Let's see. What's going on in chat? Yeah, at least it's stabilized at 4,000. Yeah, now we're a little bit further behind than 4,000, not gonna lie. But his lord is slowly getting chipped down. And I guess at this point, I want to grab this unit of cavalry. There we go. And they're going to try and capture this point. Though I do feel like his mass reinforcements here are going to get there a little bit faster. In fact, I almost want more troops over here. This is going a bit suspiciously badly for us, especially with his lord holding out for so long. He's been an absolute champ in this fight. Let's see if we can do it. It looks like the cavalry do manage to get there just in time, and we do have our reinforcements. One of the big problems right now is that we simply aren't getting too many units to actually reinforce, because they all died due to the earlier trading. But I'll see if I can make it through. My lord is still she's grinding it out. She's fighting decently. And his lord is... he's not low on leadership. I will debuff him though, just because it lowers his armor. And it looks like my cavalry do manage to just barely get that. Thank goodness. And now they can hold up those saber tusks. Very nice. Very, very nice. Let's see, we'll grab our Furies, we'll send them in. And my lord, she's gonna get support from my cavalry in a second here. Do I have anything else though? Okay, can't summon in fiends. Let's go for that. Let's send them in. Oh boy, she's getting wrecked though. The 2v1 is rough. Let's see, how low is this guy? I'm going to fight the butcher first. Let's try that out. And I'm just gonna leave her in the fight. At this point, the fighting is pretty sketchy. So the best course of action is to take higher and higher risks. Using our lord to be a little bit more aggressive here. Oh my gosh, no, but she gets absolutely wrecked. Another maw drops. The lord gets healed up. And that's pretty bad. We are now at a pretty dramatic deficit. And I guess the plan is just to hold... you have to hold 2 points. So I need to summon towards the middle. And we're going to try to secure that position. But it looks like my opponent's going to be winning today. With my lord getting absolutely ravaged here. Dang, Flying Taco with a good engagement. So you can see he has almost 2 times our value here. He managed to play a very nice defensive game. And he held back on capturing the points to make sure that we didn't take advantage of our extra income. Pretty good. I think I wish I almost... you know, if I had Nakari, it might have gone even better. Can we still win it? Maybe. I'll see. It depends on how well this middle fight goes, right? Let's see. I'll even evacuate these. I'll evacuate these Fiends of Slaanesh, and we're gonna pool into the middle to see if we can do a bit better there. Ooh, but they cap it instantly. Yeah, that's gonna be GG. Well played to Flying Taco. He's ended the reign, the winning streak. Ah, too bad. Too bad. I think if we had gone for like a bunch of soul grinders, it could have been good. I also took a very aggressive engagement in the forest, which I will admit was indeed a misplay. And we're gonna see here why the trappers are pretty scary. Actually, they only just paid for themselves. Scrap launchers? Dang, scrap launchers. Brutal value. That is insane. Even the man-eaters did quite good. Well, GG. Adobe, hello. Yeah, it's been a while. Sadly enough, we are ending the stream right now. But it was a very fun time, guys. I do plan to stream tomorrow. We'll see if we can get that going. And for those of you just tuning in, we do have a tournament this Saturday, sponsored by CA, where you can win early access to Warhammer and potentially $1,500. Flying Taco, GG, very well played. But yeah, it's a domination tournament. I hope you guys check that out if you're interested. Maybe not signing up, but at least watching on Saturday when the time comes. I think that's basically it. So yeah, peace out. Have a wonderful day, guys.